Hey, what's up, fam? Welcome to the Magic Hour podcast. In this inaugural episode, I talk with Peter Brigham, who is an ex-Line Skis engineer, about his ethos of innovation through creation. We chat about what it's like designing skis, what he's doing now at Grail and designing water purification products, and his passion entrepreneurial side hustle project of designing a premium ski pole. Stick around if that sounds interesting to you, and I will see you at the end. Peace. We're live with Peter Brigham. Welcome to Magic Hour Podcast.
Thank you.
A bit of background just so people get to know who you are. You were a longtime skier and a ski designer for several ski companies
Yeah.
over the course of the past several years. What was that like? And can you tell us a bit about your journey and how you got to here?
Yeah. So, I've been working up until about a year ago. I was the senior ski engineer for Line and K2 skis. And so I was working for both brands. They're under the same parent company, Elevate Outdoor Collective. They have BCA and a bunch of other companies with them. So I was responsible for anything that had to do with ski performance. And so that includes the shape, the materials, the construction, doing testing with athletes and key testers, and just pretty much anything that has to do with developing products that are fun. And what I really liked is trying to push the boundaries, do stuff that's weird. And that's why I got into skiing. I was super inspired by people like Eric Pollard and people who are like kind of leading the charge in new shape skis and in twin tips and just like pushing the boundaries. And that always that's really been inspiring to me. And so I worked for K2. Took a long kind of wandering journey to get there. Went to school for engineering, got a minor in math because it might be helpful, and then tried to get a job in the ski industry. Couldn't, because everyone wants to be a ski engineer, or a lot of engineers come out of school and do. So I took like a very wandering path. Was a whitewater river guide. Was a wildland firefighter. Was all these different things that were kind of like just being scrappy to get enough money so I could volunteer time in the ski industry. And then eventually K2 reached out and was like, hey, you've been trying to do this for a while. You want to come build skis for us? And then, I was there for 9 years or something like that. So, long story, but that's that's kind of how it worked.
Man, 9 years. That's a long time.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's crazy. It flew too. It's like, it didn't really hit me how long I'd been there until in my last year when I was there. Every project I was going to be designing was going to be something I'd already designed. And then I looked at the model line of Line skis and I was like, man, every ski with the exception of one or two was something that I'd done, and that a lot of the stuff that I was going to be redoing or that I was going to be doing was a new take on a ski that I'd already kind of like put my fingerprint on in a way. And so, it's like got approached with a different opportunity, and that, end up leaving, and like the people who are there now are so rad, and it's cool to see them, like still really close with them, see them take it and just run in like a similar but different direction and put their own touch on things. So
That's interesting. So engineers kind of build on the work that previous engineers have done before, like artists will steal or borrow from previous great artists.
oh, totally. Yeah, there's like no one comes up with like the novel thing by themselves. And before, like my mentor at K2, his name's Jed Yiser. He was there for, I'm not sure how many years, like 5 years or something before me, maybe longer. And he was the line guy. And within K2, or K2 Sports or Elevate Outdoor Collective, there's always been the line guy who kind of owns that brand and then touches K2 but less than they do Line, and they're kind of the face of Line while they're doing it. And so Jed was that person before me, and before that was a guy named Andy Hitchon, and some people call him Smart Andy. And those guys have like, everything they did definitely led kind of blazed the trail for where I was going, and like pushing the boundaries, but in different ways than I did. And then all the tools that are built are continuously improving, and every ski engineer comes and learns how it was done before, and then is like, that doesn't make sense, and then puts their own little spin on it and adds value to that system. And then that's why it's really hard to come into the ski industry and design skis without like a long heritage, and it's why it makes it so impressive that people like, I don't know, the smaller ski companies come in and make such good skis right away. They don't have the 50 plus years of experience to build on. They're going on skibuilders.com and using YouTube and whatever else to learn how to do it, and going from zero to really hero in like a short amount of time. It's cool.
Is there any project that is your favorite or you're super proud of that you look back on?
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of them. So I think the ski that I'm most happy with how it skis is, it's a slightly different answer to the question, is the most recent like Blade Optic collection. And that's just because it feels like it's my DNA in the skis. And I was working with athletes who obviously much better skiers than I am, but also had a very similar perspective on what skiing should be and what the future of skiing is, and looking at things like freeride skiing and how there's different segments in that space of people coming from race backgrounds into freeride, or people coming from freestyle into freeride and doing tricks all over the mountain. I was more in the freestyle side of that. Don't come from a race background, and like doing stunts with my friends. And so that the people who were developing that ski were all in that mindset. And so it was really cool. And then what came out of it is the ski that I actually like. I don't feel like there's very much I want to improve on. And it's the ski engineer or most product designers' curse is you design something, and then the thing that comes out, you're like, oh, if I only had one more round of prototypes, or if I could only do this one thing a little better. And with that collection, I didn't really feel like that. I was like, heck yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want to go skiing on. And yeah, so that's pretty cool.
That's rad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The most unique ski, definitely the Blade, which built off of a lot of the shaping that Eric Pollard did in the Sakana and the Pescado. And it's super deep side cuts, really fast turning and playful. I hate that word, but something that like enables you to kind of ski in a different way than everything else that's come before it. And so, yeah, that's probably the most unique thing that I developed when I was out there. Yeah.
That ski has an enormous shovel.
Yeah, it's huge.
Where did that come from, man?
Well, it's actually right here, right? Like, if you have a ski that has a 95 millimeters waist, and then
look at that thing. All right,
it's the size of my hand. Yeah, so it's 154, I think, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it's like just as fat as the Pescado, maybe fatter, and it's just a super tight side cut. And so when you design a ski that has a slalom side cut and a fat waist, then you make the tips much wider than the tails so that they release and are easy. That just kind of happens. Then there's some pretty cool benefits with that. You get soft snow performance and all sorts of other stuff. But that ski's super fun. I don't want this to be just like a line ad, but that's like if you're ever at a demo or something and like get an opportunity. I know you've skied on it. I gave you a demo pair for a long time.
Yeah, it was so fun. I thought the big shovel, being a non-ski nerd, was just to be able to go off piste with it. But it's interesting that it's actually a inherent design of the narrow waist with the side cut.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the tighter the circle that you draw between 3 points, the further apart those points get in like the width wise. And so that's what happens when you have a really tight circle and not that long of a ski. Yeah. I don't know.
I love it.
Boiling it down to pretty simple terms, but yeah, it's super cool. I'm very, very proud of that ski, and that's like one of the ones I like to put my friends on and have them like experience it, because it's a different feeling. And that's what I really like, is like giving people different feelings, and feelings are good.
Everyone needs more feelings.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nice. I really like what you were saying, how you put your DNA and your soul into the Blade collection, especially the Blade Optic collection. And it's cool to hear you say that when you ski that ski, it's something that you don't want to change a lot of.
Right.
And how cool is it to see other people now on the mountain also ripping around on the ski, and like hearing, like there were so many times at Crystal last year where the whole chairlift would be like Blade Optics.
Yeah, it's like insane. Yeah, it's so cool. That's like one of the most special things, and for designing any product. Like I now work in like very different space. I work in like water purification and work for a company called Grail. And even that, like the fact that I've touched those products and like are continuously improving on them, when I see someone use something that I've touched on, even if they don't know that I've like touched that product, and then they're using it and they're having like a better day because of that. It's like one of the things that's the coolest experience, whether it's sitting on a chairlift looking at that, or like watching someone drink out of a cup that you designed, or a purifier. Like it's pretty, yeah, it's special. I think that's what gives a lot of product designers their like, that's like their satisfaction, the deep satisfaction that you get when you design actual physical products. And yeah, I mean, you know, Kristen, like my wife Kristen, her and I talk about this a lot, and she worked in the beer industry for a long time, works in the coffee industry now, and that's one of the coolest things for her too. And we talk about it, like the sensory experience of someone touching something or like experiencing something that you created and having that like, yeah, that better day because of it, hopefully not a worse day, is like, yeah, that's what I'm always like chasing. And I think that's what a lot of people, like all the ski engineers that are there right now, you ask them what the coolest thing is, they design their first ski and sit on a chairlift with someone skiing on it, and they have someone sell them their own ski. It's so cool.
That's gotta be amazing.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Oh, this is the best ski ever. You gotta try this thing.
Yeah, and you have like two options. You're like, tell me more, or you take the claim and take the victory lap. Yeah, it's one of the two.
So speaking of, you've moved on from skiing a little bit in terms of what you're doing professionally right now, but you can't seem to remove yourself fully from skiing because it's in your soul a little bit, and you've started up a kind of new side project with ski poles and trying to solve certain problems. Solving problems is also something inherent with an engineer and a designer, right?
Yeah, totally.
So tell me a bit more about this new ski pole endeavor and how it came about.
Yeah, yes. Why ski poles? I always like made fun of the ski pole guys. They're like my close friends at K2, but like they would always come and they're like, they're just ski poles, you know? And it's not something that like on the surface many people seem to care about.
It's a piece of metal.
Yeah, or carbon fiber or fiberglass or something else. But it's just something that you like hold on to and kind of swing. And a lot of the coolest skiers don't even ski with poles, you know? So why ski poles? Well, it was a space that I think has been neglected, and people haven't like paid close attention to it and really pushed on it. It's been an afterthought for a lot of things, and there's a lot of really cool ski poles out there, but there's nothing that I've seen that's like perfect and like moves people. I don't have people telling me about their ski poles on the chairlift, and I don't have people like oohing and awing over them, and that's not really what I'm looking to create. I heard over and over again from friends that I was skiing with, oh, I broke this pole, oh, this could be a little better, oh, I love this little thing. And it's like little things that come off when you spend a lot of time with someone. It's not like it's at the front of their mind, but it's always present. And people, a lot of people have fixed length pair of poles and an adjustable set of poles, and that's kind of their pole quiver. And then they have a bunch of skis, they have touring boots, they have this and that, but the poles travel with them from ski to ski. And so it's a really important piece of gear, and it can, like, if it breaks, it ruins your day. And there's all these little things that people really love, and I want to like bring those together into one package. And so I've just been, it's kind of just a way for me to like work on something and innovate, and and so that's how it started. But it also is just about, I don't know, you and I talk about it all the time, like how fun it is to like take things like the what if idea, like what if you did this, what if you did that, like imagine if you designed this product for that. And so I feel like a lot of people have ideas, but not many people go to execute on those ideas. And that this seemed like an opportunity that I could execute on, which is part of the reason I just ran with it. And I was like, all right, I'm going to try to make something and make a commercial product on my own. I'm not going to do it through K2 or through Line. I'm going to make something cool, make something I'm proud of, make something that my friends are proud of. And try to bring it to market and treat it as like an MBA, you know, an entrepreneurship MBA. And like if I light a bunch of money on fire doing it, at least I learned some stuff. But it's not that much money, and I think I'm gonna get some cool pulls out of it. So if I end up with that, then there's that.
Yeah, I mean that's amazing. Like you're saying, I feel like a lot of people wait for the perfect roadmap to come out or a set of directions to be able to follow in order to take the leap and make that happen. How did you push through like the fear and self-doubt that inherently comes along with creating something and trying to create like a business?
Yeah, it's wild. So this is so early in the start of this whole business thing, right? That it was just about like the idea of innovation through creation. That's like my ethos in this, and that if that by creating like so many times I've started on a project, either be in the ski industry or somewhere else, where you start making something, and then as you start making the thing, you discover so many other things and like opportunities to improve things and opportunities to push the boundaries of the status quo. And so that was the whole idea, is that, okay, just start. And if it doesn't make sense anymore and you don't want to do it anymore, you can stop, but just start making stuff and start pushing on that vein of ski poles and see if you can get something cool to come out of it. And so I reached out to a couple different factories to figure out what it takes to make poles in Asia, in Austria, in the US, and found the one that was the easiest one to enter, which was actually making poles in the US. And then found out it was only a couple $100 to open a set of tools that I could then make poles that had mountain bike grips on them, which is one of the things I think is really cool. Imagine if you can put like lock-on mountain bike grips onto your ski poles. How sick would that be? Oh man, imagine if you could put a tool in the handle of it. How sick would that be?
Yeah, pretty sick.
Yeah, pretty sick.
Sounds sick.
Yeah. And so just like that was how it started, right? And so like what if you did this? What if you did that? Oh, it's only a couple $100. Let's do it. And then I've been working with a company in Sheboygan, Michigan, which is a place I've never been, but has super rad people who are like helping me like make these poles a reality, and they're super inspired to make stuff in the US, and they're super inspired to just help and like inspire or like and help other entrepreneurs grow. And so it's just a matter like you put it out there and you're like, I'm trying to do something. Do you want to help? Oh, you can't afford to help me. You're too big of a player. That's okay. Like maybe we'll touch base in the future. Do you want to help? No? Okay, next guy. And then you just like keep on beating down doors, and eventually you find someone who's stoked on what you're doing and your ideas, and then work together. And reaching out to other ski pole manufacturers has been helpful too. Like I've found, some really cool people that are also like entrepreneurs in their local areas and like kind of growing and doing their own things and creating products that they're stoked on and their friends are stoked on. And so all that is just like, I don't know, just keep on pushing and creating things and then putting it out there and leaning on your friends and other people. And it seems to like be gaining traction, and people seem to be really excited about stuff that I'm making. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so you said a couple things that I want to come back to, but one is that you were reaching out to other ski pole manufacturers, which seems kind of counterintuitive to me. Like you're reaching out to competition in a way, is how I immediately hear it. But what's that experience been like? Do you feel like it's competition, or are you just kind of enjoying the educational experience of this whole thing and looking at it through that lens, I guess?
Yeah, I think I don't see it as competition, and like probably because I'm not a big player in the space, right? Like no one's taking my market share because I don't have a market share. And so they have everything to lose. And I totally, if I was to come in and just like steal everyone's technologies and like make this thing and sell it, undercut it, or sell it cheaper than everyone else, I understand why people would be like apprehensive to talk to me, but like I'm not trying to be a big player in the space. I'm really just trying to create cool poles, and I want to like create opportunities for other people to create cool stuff and eventually create opportunities for people to learn how to create cool stuff. And so that's my long-term like vision with the whole thing, is to use the innovation through creation like ethos to keep on pushing products.
Fuck, sorry.
You're all good. Yeah, but to keep to push products from idea to reality, especially products that are more durable, more sustainable, pushes the on the fringes. Real innovation oftentimes happens on the fringes before it makes its way into the mainstream. And so, yeah, I've been reaching out and talking with people and having really candid conversations with small ski pole manufacturers who have the same problems that I'm having, where it's really hard to make poles at large factories because there's MOQs, minimum order quantities. And so you have to order hundreds of pairs of poles at a time, or hundreds of pairs of parts at a time, in order to get costing that is then acceptable to have a commercially viable product that you can sell, right? If you're making one or two, it's going to cost you about the same amount to build your own pole as it will to just buy one off the shelf. But if you're making 500 or 250, then it becomes a viable business. And so I'm not trying to make a huge amount of poles. I'm not trying to make a huge amount of money. I'm trying to create one product at a time, use that to use any money raised there to open tools that make those products better. So I actually have a pole over here.
Sick. We'll start another record on this thing. Okay, cool. Beer.
I'll get the crack.
Okay, take two.
Oh, that's so nice. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah. Oh, I don't like wearing headphones and slurping at the same time.
Yeah, it's kind of a lot of ASMR.
Yeah, it is. Oh, it's like my nightmare. Just.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but so back to the poles. This is what I've been working on.
Okay.
I'm pretty fired up on it. But all these components, a lot of these pieces that are on here, are open source tools, and that anyone could go and build with enough beaten down doors could build this exact pole. And that through companies that are willing to collaborate, I've been able to source all this stuff and build a really compelling pole. The thing that I'm struggling with the most is actually this clamp. And it's one thing that you listen to a lot of people and they're like, this breaks a lot and it's not reliable, and people's poles, when you press them really hard, they slide up and down.
Yeah.
And so that's I've solved a lot of problems that I won't get into the details of the individual component pieces and why they are the way they are. I feel like that can be a separate
That's
thing.
a rabbit hole.
That's a rabbit hole to go down. But this part, there's a huge gap in open source tools so anyone who's trying to build poles themselves has to settle with this clamp, which is plastic, and it's nice enough, but it's not premium. The rest of this pole it's built with premium in mind to be the best. It's something I'm really proud of, and I'm not proud of the clamp where it currently stands. And this is better than where I started. I started with something from Alibaba that's that's not as nice, and the poles come a long way from that to this, right? And so this is the first prototype, which was it has an actual mountain bike grip.
And this was part of the original idea you had, was kind of put a mountain bike grip in it so you can have it be custom and it feels good.
Right.
Now you've iterated away from the mountain bike grip.
Yeah, totally.
That was due to some product testing in the field?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I found that with a lot of people, mountain bike hands are for ungloved hands, or mountain bike grips are for ungloved hands or really thin gloves. And so as you wear thicker mitts, that it becomes pretty unwieldy and not a very nice experience. So the thinner grips, not super thin, but thinner, definitely it's a lot nicer on a gloved hand. And I found myself, if I was touring with this pole, I ended up choking up to this area even when I had an ungloved hand. And just for whatever reason, the motion's very different.
Classic. That's the record thing.
Do you need to?
It's a beta. This one's good for an hour and a half. This just goes.
Heck yeah.
This one I started when we took our beer break, and I forgot to pause the timer, so.
Nice.
Hopefully that does. Oh, nice. It's going to go off in 25 minutes again.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
I wonder if I'll still be here. But yeah, so I ended up watching like using the poles myself and watching people use these, the amount of time that people spent choked up, even when it was something where you typically want the full length just because it was more comfortable, it was pretty clear that for this application, mountain bike grips aren't the ideal thing, even though it's sick because mountain bikes are cool. Mountain bike grips are cool. There's so many options out there, being able to customize it.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah,
great idea.
This is the thing that I opened the tool for originally, and you can see the sticker. This is the label of like the different composites that were used in it. But this pole, there's a couple different standards in ski poles for their diameters, and so I could put this upper on a bunch of different ski poles that have a 16 millimeter lower, and then it was just something I'm like, oh man, I could sell like 5 of these to my friends. Or like there's a new schooler thread about, oh man, like let's put mountain bike grips on our park poles. And that was like part of the thing. People are talking about it. People want it. Like no one's done it. Or there actually has been some people who've done it, but no one's done it really well, in my opinion. And so make a compelling product. And then the other added benefit is that, funny enough, I didn't know this was designed by one of my friends, Anthony. And I put a little Instagram poll, is this a gimmick or not? And he's like, not a gimmick, I designed that thing.
No way.
Yeah, so I had no idea. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, so little posi drive, right? And there's a lot of different people who do this. There's like ones that go up inside your lower. There's ones that go on the bottom of your pole. Like there's a lot of different versions of this, but a lot of people like it, including myself. And so this was the idea that would be easy to access, and then you just store it away. It's just a pop fit, pop it out, pop it in. But yeah, it's moving. This is prototype V1, and then this is prototype V10 or something. And it's very different, but it's all from like user testing being myself and a few friends. Yeah.
How long have you been working on this now?
I started at the beginning of the summer, and then I've gone through a bunch of prototypes for different layups of the composites to make it strong, like durability. Sustainability is always front of mind when developing stuff for me, and carbon fiber is inherently not sustainable. But there's reasons that this was chosen the way it is, and that's durability, like making less stuff is important. And so all of the decisions to make this pole is durability is front of mind. And so carbon isn't oftentimes like thought of as the most durable thing, but it actually has a really high strength to weight ratio. And a lot of people use that high strength and stiffness to weight ratio to drive down weight in a product so you have a compelling product. But this is using a lot of material to make a really robust pole, so that they don't break, they last longer, they don't end up in a dumpster as long. And then there's other opportunities to like move from carbon to other materials in the future. And so it has like a long-term vision of, okay, if I can sell some really compelling products, if I can open new tools that have a compelling, like durable grip, clamp, and like pave the path to make it easier for other people to do it, I think that people will push, including myself, on the materials that are being used on this pole. And like, yeah, that innovation will happen through creation of products and through creating open source tools and all of that. So that's the thought behind the poles.
That's a good ethos to have too, is like not optimizing for something to break and have replaceable like profits, I guess you could call it, or like, I don't know the right way to say that, but
designed for a lifetime.
Yeah, like exactly. You buy once and it should last.
Totally. Yeah.
And
there's some really like cool, like there's a lot of movement in that like idea, and I think Evo,
it's sustainable.
Yeah, totally. I think Evo and like Seasons equipment, they have done a really cool thing where they're not updating their graphics every year because like they're trying to get rid of the fast fashion part of skis, and like graphics push a lot of people to buy new skis. And so if you just have really beautiful skis that are timeless, then maybe people will buy less of them or they'll only buy them when they wear them out and take them to end of life. So I think that's really cool as well.
Yeah.
But also people like having beautiful stuff and like having cool graphics. And so that's not something that, something, I'm not opposed to putting cool graphics on things either, as long as
Yeah, self-expression is an important cultural cornerstone right now.
Yeah.
That people, we all live in very similar environments, and so being able to differentiate each other or yourself from the pack gives people meaning.
Yeah, totally.
But also identifying people, like I identify with like sustainability and the idea of having something for life or something that will last longer because it's engineered that way also is very appealing.
Yeah, I think so too. And that's like, I don't want to push too hard on the sustainability thing, especially at this point. Like, I don't want to just like greenwash and say that, oh, this is a more sustainable product because it won't break. But like, that's where my mind is at, like the long-term roadmap of this product, and like getting there. Like, there's a pathway in my head to get there, and that I don't have that's me and like a couple $100 going after like a problem, right? And more than a couple $100, but it's like, yeah, me and like not a huge resource pool to solve this problem. So you have to start and like grow this grassroots and come out with a compelling product first that people want to use, so you can then have the financial backing to like push into like more capital intense development stuff. And so like the first thing is making a new clamp. Then like, who knows, by the time I launch this product, I certainly hope there'll be a new clamp on that. But yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. When are you trying to launch like a beta round? Do you have a goal?
My friends and I will be skiing on these this winter, and maybe I'll sell a few. And yeah, there's not a huge, I mean, this is so much a side hustle for me. Like I work a 9 to 5 at Grail, like I said, and I love that job, and I don't want to sacrifice doing a really good job there for a pole company, especially one that's like just a huge time and money suck when I have, I believe in the mission of the other products, which is like clean water to a lot of different people all over the world. And so, yeah. It'll happen when it happens.
Yeah.
Depends on how many hurdles and how much money it takes. But yeah, it's been pretty cool though. Hearing the feedback, like I felt like very vulnerable. I put myself out there by doing an Instagram poll to all my friends and saying I'm doing something, and it was the first time I like told more people than just you and a few other folks that I was going to do something outside of like put myself out there and actually start something. And so the responses I got were like overwhelmingly positive, and people, like friends, were just, even I'll be like, what do you think of this part? And the responses I got, like many of them were like, the first step is like doing something, like the hardest step is the first step, or like, I can't believe you're actually doing this. I've had ideas for this for so long, and it's so cool that you're doing this. I'll definitely buy a set when you sell them. And so it seems like the community, or at least the ski community, rallies around people who are trying to do stuff. And that's really been like motivating and inspiring for this project.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, it just makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even
you've been
people
doing this all internally, and then you finally get some external validation.
I know, and like you don't think you need it, but it certainly helps. Yeah. It's crazy. Like I even have some people I've never met in Europe that are like friends of friends that are reaching out, and they sent me photos of bamboo ski poles they made that had mountain bike grips, and they like taped bamboo shafts and then like cut aluminum lowers on poles and shoved it in the piece of into a piece of bamboo and made their own poles. And they're like, this is so sick, you should make poles like this, you know. Like people actually care about ski poles, and they're like super inspired by it. So it's sick.
Yeah, who would have thought? Just a little piece of metal.
Yeah,
Who
would have thought?
Yeah. No, it's really cool. Really cool to watch the process from where you started with the initial idea, like, oh, I'm thinking about doing this. And, 6 months later, here you are with like, I mean, this is viable. This flippy thing, to your standards, I agree, needs to get figured out. But like, it's pretty dope that you've been doing this. I'm proud of you.
Aw, thanks.
and it's inspiring for me too. It's like, and I hope inspiring to anybody else that is watching or listening, that like you can pretty much accomplish anything that you put your mind to. Like you just set about, you had an idea and you're like, I'm just going to go do it. And I don't know how to do it yet, but I'm going to figure it out. And I'm going to knock on doors and iterate and go test. And it's a labor of love. Totally. But here you are, like, this is sick.
Yeah, I'd be stoked to ski on that this year.
Yeah, me too.
Really stiff.
I'm going to buy a pair.
Yeah.
100%. Do you have a name for it yet?
Not sharing. I do, but I'm not. That's too vulnerable. Yeah, I'm not a brand guy. I'm a product person, and that's one of the things that I'm stoked on. This is that, I'm super inspired by people like who do a really good job at creating brands and creating values and communities around products, and it's like the periphery that happens with it. And like Line Skis, that's why I was there for so long. And like K2 is the same. They have like a feeling associated with those brands. If you ever grew up watching the Traveling Circus or you watch Dylan Sigger's videos, you like can feel something, and that like creating that brand around a product is super, super inspiring to me. And that's not what I'm good at. I'm good at making stuff. And so this is like an opportunity for future Peter and to like learn how to do that and cultivate a brand and a community around innovation through creation. And and just like entrepreneurship, and like if there's so many small brands and so many people who are doing cool stuff, you look at Wild Ride, like just in like the ladies apparel and like soft goods space, there's like Wild Ride and Skeeta, which are just such like sick brands that have like positive communities of people and just uplifting all different types of people. And I'm just blown away by what they're able to do. That, and then you look at like, I don't know, there's just little mountain bike brands that make these aftermarket parts that make people like that people love to tech out on. And it's so cool that they just create this value in this community of people who are like looking at, like suspension curves. That's like, I love riding bikes. I'm like, for whatever reason, I don't tech out on bikes like that, but I appreciate that there's whole like communities of people who are just like going after solving problems like them in the weeds for that. So yeah, I think it'll be really cool to build a brand and community of people around like creation of stuff that we believe is better. Yeah. Like as a community, and not just me just making stuff in my garage for me, like putting it out there, and hopefully like come up with stuff that's cool enough that it moves the industry and in a place that's better. And that's kind of the whole goal. Yeah.
Innovation makes the world a better place.
Totally.
Because if you change one person's life, you change the world in a sense.
That's a huge claim, but
It depends. Yeah. I mean,
you change their world for sure.
Yeah. You change their world, and that is a world.
Yeah,
that's kind of, we're straying into philosophy now, but like, it's like you're talking about those brands. Like, even there's so many people in the world, and if you can create a community of 100 people that suddenly have like a piece of something that they associate with themselves that they're proud of because of the things that it represents, like that person and those people are now better off. Yeah. And they will be better members in their own community, whether it's a ski pole or it's, the Skeeta hats or like, the little techie mountain bike things. Like, making things better makes the world a better place.
Yeah, I agree. And if everyone's trying to make things better, people generally, like if you're a person who's generally out there trying to make things better, when you see other people doing that, like that's a community in and of itself. And that's why, like, when I talk to other small ski pole companies, they're not like, they're just out there being scrappy and figuring it out just like I am, except they actually have businesses at this point. And they're like, they just like me are just trying to solve problems that they've seen and like do things that are innovative and creative. And that's, it's cool. Super inspiring.
It's contagious too.
Yeah, it is.
It's contagious. Like watching you do this all summer, I get stoked about like trying to up video production and like
totally
create a better business for myself and up the value that I can bring to other people.
Yeah, I'd actually like to learn more about that.
Yeah, we can do some video stuff.
No, well, not only that, I'd like to learn like you've had a huge transition in your recent like career trajectory from like having one main client to being fully like you are your own destiny now. Like you're creating your own thing.
Oh yeah.
And like that's
elation and terror.
those are the two emotions. Yeah.
Generally not in between.
Yeah. Is there one you land on more?
It's been more elation, I think, in the past 3 months, but currently leaning towards terror.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's honestly terror is more motivating.
Yeah.
Because like I was telling you earlier, like, it's like next month I thought I had a gig and that was going to pay really well and like take care of me. And then that gig fell through. So now I'm kind of like, oh, terror is setting in.
Yeah.
But it's forcing me into a place of uncomfortability where I haven't been before, where it's like, oh, okay, now I got to really hustle and make things work. And how do I handle that stress and progress, And so like this week I've been saying I'm going to update my website for 3 months. Finally did it this week because I'm forced to, because of the terror that's being held back.
Yeah, terror can be a great motivator as long as it doesn't cripple you.
No, definitely not. I mean, you and I know this. Like, we're all gonna be okay, and everything works out. Yeah, I believe that at least. Like, everything works out the way it's supposed to, and this is supposed to be happening, and it's all positive growth. But
totally, yeah,
we can get into that on your podcast.
yeah, I can't wait for it. It's wild. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it's where we live or the people we surround ourselves by, but it's pretty cool to look around and see how many people in our community have made the leap to do their own thing. And to, you look at like Scott Rank opening up an art gallery, or like our friends like Kobe and Henry, Kobe and Colton.
Yeah.
And then you, and like, there's all these like creative people around us, and like, there's similarly in product design, you have like Ryan Schmees out there. It's just,
I was just thinking of him. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like crazy how many of these like people are just out there and making it work and have like taken that leap and like started somewhere and then just have had kind of a wandering path, ups and downs, but are like, creating cool stuff. It's pretty, it's sick.
Yeah, it is really cool.
And it's contagious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in a way, at this point in the world, I think that the only way to get rich is by like starting a business.
Totally.
And then selling it, or, running it for forever and creating a baby. But like, I think we all want to be like financially secure and well off, and that's something I've slowly come to. It's like I don't want to continue to spend my time earning money. I want to create something that compounds time into value.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I'm like always thinking about now. And I don't know if that's necessarily going to be video production, a video business, but I think it's cool to experiment and iterate. And like, I don't know if that's going to be polls for you, but like, like starting something,
so. Yeah.
It could be. It could be. You never know. You just never know. It could be.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. Like if the product's good and the marketing's good, you could sell out, do $1 million business and sell out in a couple years.
Yeah. Like, who knows? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's scary to try and go down that like entrepreneurial self-sufficiency path, but if you want like I don't know, I think we both want higher than exceptional or average lives, so that's the only way to get it.
I think we also both, it's not just like the financial part of it, it's like we both like the creating things. Like you create video assets, like your YouTube channel, right? You have videos reviewing camera equipment and doing like bike GoPro mouth mount stuff, and like it's just like all over the stuff that's like real. But you're just like creating stuff, and you're just putting it out there and that's like super vulnerable, but also like everyone like, but you're out there doing it.
I like doing it. You know, it's like for me at the end of the day, that's really it. And trying to share to somebody, like maybe there's somebody who was in a place that I was, a couple years ago. I've learned so much online. I feel like I want to give back, but also just like it's an itch that I have to scratch.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, we're doing this for the big paycheck at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is that?
Yeah. One Kawanda cream ale.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was less slurpy that time. That was good.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. The whole starting something.
Yeah.
It's the future is so unknown, and like there's no shortage of ideas. You know, you and I are both like this. Like you have told me about so many video projects that you want to make, and polls isn't my only idea, right?
Yeah.
Like I have so many things that I want to create, and polls is just the first one. It's like the first opportunity that I found that I can push on.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's crazy looking out, like having one thing you're hyper focused on and trying to like make that a reality, like scrambling on a project, editing it, or like trying to make a better clamp, you know. You're just like pushing so hard on one thing, but like then you like zoom out and you're like, oh my gosh, the what if is still huge. And like I like creating stuff. I like the what if. That's like at my job, like my day job, the job at Grail, like that's my whole job is identifying opportunities, building solutions for those opportunities, and then bringing them to market. That's like, it's not the highest paying job in the world at all. Like but that, like I'm doing it because it's teaching me how to do this really well. And the products I'm creating I think are so sick. And I think it's really like, that's like, it's a cool brand. And they sell to people who are survivalists and bushcraft and all this, like all these places that people are super passionate getting out in the wilderness and the outdoors, but in a way that I've never experienced because I'm outdoor recreationist through like hiking is the closest I get to that probably, but they're out there like trapping and like starting fire with magnifying glasses and cooking the rabbit that they trapped on it and building a shelter and staying out there for a week. Like it's sick. It's so cool, and having like crazy wilderness experiences. And so designing products for like the wide range of like backpackers to that is pretty fun. Yeah.
Last question. Well, maybe not last question, but it can be if we want.
Yeah. Hit me
We
with
chat
it.
for a while. How much confidence has going through this process, even if like you just make 10 polls for you and your homies and that's the end of this project, hypothetically, how much confidence are you taking with you, and like has this process given you in yourself and your abilities?
A lot more than I had before, for sure. Yeah, and I think every project, this isn't the first project that I've done like this. I've done consulting work for other companies, helping them develop new technologies and stuff. And those were me approaching them being like, hey, here's a problem. Can I help you solve this problem? And then sometimes people say yes. And that each one of these, I learn a lot more than the last. And each one of these, I get burned in a new way. And then that's a huge learning experience. And I haven't got burned on this yet. And so I'm still building a lot of confidence and skills and like growing my network and meeting all these people who I'm learning from along the way. And then, yeah, we'll see what the real big learning opportunity that I haven't found yet is, to where I really get burned. But like every time I do something like this, it's like every ski I designed was like gaining more confidence in like understanding a problem and solving that problem. And even if the ski doesn't hit, or if the ski pole doesn't hit, you're going to solve a problem for someone if you're actually thinking about this and you're being like thoughtful in your design. You're going to solve a problem for someone. And so, yeah, just knowing that that's out there, it's a lot of confidence. Yeah. Hopefully not arrogance. Yeah.
No, I mean, you seem humble still.
Yeah, I guess. Thanks.
I'll talk to you after 1 million units sell, all right?
Yeah.
Then we'll see where you're at.
Yeah.
Sick. Well, we're going to revisit this, or at least I'll make a video about it when they eventually do drop it. We're skiing with them because I'm stoked. I'm stoked to try it out.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to talk about that we haven't covered?
I think that's it. Yeah, just thanks for the opportunity to chat. And yeah, it's awesome. Weird. We chat like this all the time, but like to actually put it in a podcast or YouTube video or whatever it is it's cool.
Yeah. Well, in case it does become a global success, it's look at this. It started in the garage. You know?
Heard it here first.
Just like Steve Jobs.
Yeah, just like Steve Jobs.
Ski jobs.
Yeah, I guess.
Ski jobs. Yeah, sick, dude. Well, thanks for sitting down, taking the time.
Yeah, this has
Appreciate
been
you.
awesome. Yeah.
And see you on the next one.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining for the first episode. I hope you liked it and enjoyed spending time with us today. Thank you for bearing with the imperfections of the sound recording. I promise I will do better for you next time. This is a passion project and always trying to improve on new things. That was the first time I've ever filmed a podcast. So I'm stoked to be releasing it. Stoked you watched it. Quick word from our sponsor this week. We have Easy Plunge, your premium ski pole plunger. Just kidding. My homie Sam made this, and I really like it, and I won it in a raffle. But if you have extra ski poles lying around, it's kind of a cool thing for a cabin. So if you're looking to get crafty, ski pole plunger. All right, that's all for me. I will see you in the next video. Please have a blessed day. I love you. And I'll see you later. All right, peace out.